We're full live. Don't worry, nobody's watching yet.
Not yet. No need purple. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. We're going to do a little democracy in action tonight. So we've got, 4 board seats up. We've got 5 people running. April 1st is the election, early voting, like that, with those names when you go in the voting booth, right? So when you go in, know who these folks are, know who you're voting for. So that's the goal for tonight. So the way this is going to work is we're going to let them introduce themselves and kind of why they're running for school board, and then we've got some questions that at random. Everybody's going to get a chance to answer the exact same question, so you'll know where they're at on each one of those issues. So, are you guys ready?
Hey Charlie, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
On this incorporated and incorporated, I know there's 5, so how's that going to work with these 5?
I don't think, with our board, I don't think it matters. Yeah, I mean, some districts use the mic because I'll have my back turned to you when we ask questions. Okay. All right, thank you candidates for coming. We really do appreciate it. So at this time, we can kind of go down the table, and you might go ahead. There's a mic up there. If you don't, that's great. But just make sure everybody can hear us. And then we'll just run down the line. So when John's done, then we'll run it down.
My name is John Graskowitz. I'm currently on the board. I've been on the board for 2 years. I ran for the 2-year unexpired term the last election 2 years ago. Group when it switched from the Dragons to the Redbirds in that 2-year period there. So I've got a purple Dragons jacket and a Redbirds. I've been a police officer for 31 years since 1994. During the same time that I was doing both. It made for long nights and long days. I live in West Frankfort, obviously. Married to Jill, the former Jill Lindsay. I have a daughter who goes to West Frankfort High School. Her name is Alexa or Alexi. She's a freshman at FCHS. And the reason I'm running for school board is a couple of years ago when she started coming home, because they only had one and they made photocopies. And I said, well, something isn't right, that we don't have textbooks. And then she would bring home her homework and stuff, and it was printed off of websites where it would be like teacher, okay, yeah, this seems odd that we're just going to the website, printing off, and that's our, and it takes a good solid year to get under your belt even what you're doing, or to get an idea of what's going on, to try to grasp it. But then you realize there's a lot to it, and basically I want to help the kids, and I want to help the students. I want to make sure the students have everything they need, and we have the quality things that we need. We have good educators. We have quality people. We just need to get things back in order and get things worked out.
Thank you.
I don't know if I want this. Okay. In 2003, from FCHS. Before that, I went to St. John's, so I actually didn't go to the public schools here. After that, I bounced around a little bit and then joined the military. I did 11 years in the Army with the 82nd Airborne. And then after that, I went back to school. But what I can tell you is what I see and what I bring home as a parent. My son is also a freshman at FCHS, and he's into the athletics, and I get to hear about all the stuff going about, right? And some of the things he was telling me just wasn't sitting right with me. And I feel like it needs to be a kids first approach. We're grown. We got a lot of kids that need the school to be a safe space and need the school to be their kind of getaway. And I don't think we're providing that. And I understand with COVID that there were some changes that were made, and then we just never went back. Everybody else in here got to do it. Everybody got to go to Sadie. Come on, that's the one dance where the girl buys the shirt. I mean, it's a benefit, right? I mean, it's part of it. And there's things in the school board. I just can't sit and not be involved in it. I'm just not built that way. So that's about it. I'll pass it off to Dawn.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I don't need the mic. My name's Dawn Browning. I have lived in West Frankfort since 1977. So I did graduate. I am a past business owner. I used to own the Heights Market. And at that time I had teachers come in every morning, have coffee, They were retired teachers, they were teachers still working, teachers come in for lunch, you know, so I heard this, that, and the other. I've got 2 children that graduated, that little boy. Have more coming up, have 2 more in another year or so that'll be there, and possibly more after that. I had, when my children were in school, there was some issues with the school district. I made my voice heard at school board meetings many times, were resolved to where the particular people weren't in the district any longer, where nobody would think that I had an agenda to go after someone. So now I've been on the school board for 4 years. I love it. I've been the secretary. There's a lot in town, a whole lot. It's more than just, you got the parents in the background saying, that wasn't a file, that wasn't an out. You know, it's volunteer. We don't get a dime for being here. This is all on our time and our heartache and our decisions as a group here. Yeah, COVID messed everybody up. It messed up a lot of people. But the budget will get straightened out. We've always had issues. The class sizes are not that bad. When my kids were in school, there was 29 plus in a classroom. 1990s, is that the years that I would be thinking? 93, the 2000s. Class sizes are smaller. The kids are getting a little bit better of an education. When one of my daughters was in a grade with a teacher, there was 30 plus. Her birthday is in October, that's 30. In Frankfurt, you know, we didn't have the centers. It was K through 6, K through 6. Teacher moved to another classroom. That included your child or the kids you've got this year. She says, absolutely, the ones that, there's 24. Now, the classrooms they're not that big now, because we do have more teachers, more sections. Yes, we have to pull them down sometimes, but the average in the classrooms is 18. I think that's what the kindergarten class is. No, excuse me, I think there's 22 in my, yeah, that's, you know, there's 5 sections now. So they dropped a section, there was 6. So even 22 is not that unreasonable to teach those kids. I want to stay here. There's more things that have to be done and said. So I would appreciate everyone's vote.
I'm Mike Karofsky. Most of you probably know me. I see several of my ex-students out there, which means I'm getting so old. Why am I running? I don't have a dog in the fight. My son is graduated. He's out in Boston. I did 13 years here. I've been here all my life. Worked here for 35 years, so that's almost 50 years myself in the system. I've been a teacher. I've been an administrator. I've been a coach. I've been in charge of numerous committees. I'm very familiar with the system. Every day I go down Main Street and I look at the high school. Of course, that was my home. It's been my home. I still have a lot of pride in the system. I have a lot, but that doesn't mean those things can't be turned around and improved. You know, like Brian said about the deficit, you know, everybody's worked up about the deficit. I was looking today, the past 25 years, Irish get a cookie. It has been something we have dealt with for years. It's not just now, it is something that we have dealt with for years. You know, that's our #1 priority. That'd be my #1 priority, is to get it turned around. You can't do anything without money. I'm not here to do that. Let's get it fixed. Let's get it turned around. You know, just like I read the other day on somebody says, we're all Redbirds. Let's get this thing turned around so we can be proud of our school system. And like Don said, we've got family members hired or a hidden agenda. Don't vote for me, because I don't. I just want it better. Every day I drive around these schools, I still have a lot of pride in this school system. And you know, as long as my health holds out, you know, I'll do all I can to try to make things better.
Last but not least.
My name's Joshua Tharp. My wife Katie, 6 generations, and I've lived here for most of my life. My family's been involved with our schools, with our community, and in a lot of different ways. I work in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for over a decade now, and a little over 5 years of that has been in leadership roles, where I've been responsible for developing and adhering to miss margins in other programs. I'm a Christian, and so any policies that we've got that come up, I will vote with that in mind. And I understand that there are certain direct times. We've got girls that are going to be in the school system for 18 more years, and my wife and I both went to school here, graduated in 2012. We graduated with Dawn's daughter. West Frankfurt's our home. I'm proud to be from here. I'm proud to be a Redbird. I want our girls to feel the same way.
Are they okay without a mic back there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, so this question's for all 5 of you. We have a couple that kind of will help, kind of board general questions, not board specific. So 3 of you would be new to the school. As I think was John said, it's a lot. So kind of talk to everybody about how you will get prepared for board work, or you have gotten more prepared for board work, because it is tough. So
Like Dawn said, I thought in my mind you would think it's going in and you vote yes and no on what they have. It's it happened, and from there I tried to study about the school, things I didn't know about the school district, so I would know more about the school district. So I tried to look at the teachers' contracts, the employment contracts for the Teamsters, for the cooks, the secretaries. Thought you would be prepared until you get there, and it's something new well, we get lots of emails from the superintendent, so every day there's more going on than you realize, because there's things happening at the school district that they inform us of. Not them all, to go over everything that's happened in the last 2 weeks. So there was some incidents today. We got emails on this morning, or text this morning. It's a lot to take in, and once you get used to it, it's enjoyable. I really enjoy it. I enjoy helping the kids, helping them. I'm happy with my education here. After I left here, I went to SIU, so that's how I prepared, was just studying, learning, and trying to learn as much as I could.
Yeah, so that was a good question. I mean, as with everything else in my life, I think I'm just going to jump into it, and I'll figure it out. I figured everything else out. I was undiagnosed. I have ADHD, and I made it all the way through school and college without that being diagnosed. So if there's a way, I'll figure it out. The biggest thing is going to be, and there's probably a lot of people that wouldn't like that. 4 unions. 4 unions. That's even better. So that's going to be the hardest thing for me to navigate, and I've been reading up on it a little bit, and I'll continue to read up on it. But like I said, it's the best way to do it, baptism by fire. So that's the way I'll do this, and I'll get results. I always do.
Ms. Grant?
Okay, the question was.
How did you get prepared?
As I get prepared?
Yeah, I mean, because as you know now, it's.
Went back, researched things. I knew a little bit about it, just from, I guess, being aged. And when I had the market, I had the inside scoop to just that, anything that went, who this person is and what this person does, and the kids. I sat up there at the store with the scanner, so I knew all the places. If some of my kids or my, so that's pretty much the way I do the school board. They voted me in secretary 4 years ago, and I've continued to do that role, which that entails doing the closed minutes and turning those in to where they're posted. First couple times I went a little bit more in depth, do things word for word to keep it that way, and ask John, they'll starve if I'm not on the board. They'll starve.
She brings good food.
Mike, how about you?
Every sort, right? Certainly you have to be up on all the various contracts. When I was an administrator, there were 4 different contracts that you had to be familiar with. You got to be very diplomatic. you gotta be very open-minded, you know. I'm assuming that you get your board packet Friday, Saturday, you know, so you should be doing a lot of reading and being prepared come Monday at 6 o'clock. And to understand what's going on and what's being presented when we get there.
So I've tried reading up on the rules and regulations. Mr. Jonkin shared some websites and some reading to do for that. And speaking with Mr. Tony, I know that there's additional education that you'll do if elected to teach you kind of how to function on the school board. Because I know the budget is the big topic here lately, and personnel makes up 80% of that. I've been looking at just trying to get as much information about how the school board will function, because my background's healthcare. I've not been in education, and so I know it functions very differently. There's some high-level concepts.
So in your responses already, you may have already answered this, but to give you a chance to highlight some personal qualities. So what personal qualities or specialty areas do you guys possess that makes you feel like you can lend some expertise to the board when you get on it? So like I said, you've been in law enforcement. You're not doing it.
That's fine. So like I said, I've been in leadership for a little over 5 years, so I've got some experience with budgeting. What my budget is significantly less than what my program actually brings in, so I'm used to working with less than what all the input is, and deciphering what are the wants versus what are the needs, and always keeping safety in mind. For healthcare, it's patient safety. For education, it's going to be the students and the staff. So keeping that at the
I've got a background in school law from not only my administrative experiences. I've taught law for 25 years, so I think that would certainly be an advantage when it comes to litigation. I've been on both sides of the negotiating table, which is certainly, I think would be a plus. What custodians do, what certainly the teachers do, what the administrators. I've been there. I understand it. So it's not going to be foreign language to me. I'm going to understand the, we used to have a principal years ago named Gary May that always talked about SOP, may need to be looked at. Get away for a little bit from the status quo. But I think with my nearly 40 years of education experience, and I've been fortunate to be very well-rounded in all aspects of the process, I feel I could be very...
And a mom, which is basically the best qualification of anything. I've just been a business member of the town. I did Girl Scouts forever. I've worked in accounting. I do have a part-time job that I can work when I'm always doing the arithmetic for this, that, and the other, and things can be cut, but other things can't. My mom was a nurse her whole life, and she said the last 20 years of being a nurse, she couldn't do too many. There's a lot more regulations today than there was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, which makes the administrators, principals, superintendents, all of these people have more work to do and less person to person. In high school, we had one principal, and I graduated in a class of 179. So that was 800 plus at the high school. We graduate less than 100 now. And you have to have 2 administrators to do the same work that one done with half of the students. We can do to continue on with it. That's the way it is. There's nothing that can be changed on that part.
Thank you.
I guess in football, I help with the high school wrestlers, and actually the reason I'm dressed like this is because I just left the weight room with high school kids that I was helping them coach through weightlifting. Kids talk a lot, and the other thing I'm going to bring is common sense. Common sense, I feel like, is lost sometimes, and just like Josh said earlier, the whole wants and needs. I think that's something that I'm glad he said that, because that's putting them before needs. maybe not on purpose, but it's playing out that way. So, as I said from the get-go, I'm going to be kids first, and I'll continue to be kids first, and do that. So that's what I'm going to bring to the table, sort of say.
I bring many years of dealing with local government through the police department. I've been the chief of police for school resource officer. I've been to the school resource training and school resource officer instructor training. I wish that in this district we had the means to have a school resource officer in each building. I would love to see that happen here. We have an SRO at the high school, and if there is an issue at Benning or there is an issue at the junior high, you have to call and he has to respond. Well, I know that's all we can do right now because we can't fund it, but there is different ways that can be funded. Resource officers just has to be put on the ballot again to ask if you can use it for that. Also, I've been in communications all my life, so I feel like I can communicate to people, I can talk to people. I'm very familiar with the state and their paperwork mandates and their unfunded mandates and cameras now, and so I'm very familiar with the state mandates. I deal with unions on negotiating with our people that we employ, and I feel like I know, a lot of people in town. I feel like I'm approachable, so if anybody wants to talk to me about anything, time. But a solution that makes the most sense, like they said, they're like common sense that makes the most sense. So.
All right, thank you. Well done. So we're going to move on to our fishbowl / gray basket questions. Vote. Are you willing to vote what you want when it's not the popular decision?
Yes, and like I said before, I'm a Christian. That's what's going to drive how I vote on certain things, and I'm used to speak of who's in the room. I'm going to speak, the truth, and what I feel like needs to be said, and do it in a respectful way.
I'm a straight shooter. If it's 6-1 and I'm the one, we'll have no reservations of voting no. The way I feel. Period.
I have always voted the way that I felt. It has not always been the favorable one. There was one vote that I regret that I voted yes for that I should have abstained from, because it was family, and vote the way I want to vote, regardless of if, like he said, if it's 6-1 and I can be the one, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I have no problem saying no. I'm as bullheaded as they come, and that's all.
I know what they're saying, that most decisions are unanimous. Most everything is explained to us in great detail as the reasons why. I mean, sometimes it's not the way that's the most.
Line. So here we go. As a board member, excuse me, what are your plans to slow down the exodus of students who have left our school district and went to bordering districts?
I guess like what Brian's been saying, make sure that they've got a voice, get in the community and see why it is that they're leaving. I know a couple of the topics that people are upset about, but if you can, get down to it and have a personal conversation and see what it is, and then give them hope. Like, hey, trust the board, trust your staff that they're going to do what they can to improve the district, and have pride in your town.
Why are they leaving? If we check in, what is the reason? Is it a personal matter? Is it something else? Facilities? Yes, we are for the facilities. Seems like everybody's going north, 7 miles. Okay, I can't mention their names. They're 7 miles north. I don't know how many people realize, but I got a property there. He says they're looking for ways to spend money. They're getting ready now to redo their east gym because they can't find enough ways to spend money. They're getting ready to build a new multi-purpose athletic facility on the corner there across from compete with. That's just hard to compete with. you know, and 16, 17-year-old kids seeing all those new bells and whistles, that's hard to compete, you know. So that's why we're gonna have to start thinking out of the box. Any better than ours? No, not a bit. Not in my opinion, no way. But you know how kids are influenced, you know, and that's hard to compete.
They're getting, the parents get hurt feelings because their kid didn't get to play the sport, the time, whether it be a boy or a girl. School's not about sports. I mean, it's a big thing in there, but it's about the education. Kids are getting the education. I'm probably gonna say something that I the NBA or the NFL or something, and they send their children to another district. I don't agree with that. You know, we're paying them, and they're sending their children somewhere else, and it's not for the education; it's for the sports. Our sports program is the best. I don't think it's a coach's issue. I think it's a kid issue, and it's an entitlement issue. And Benton has 2 school districts. Everyone needs to remember. They have a high school district and they have the grade school district. And they have all the little feeder schools that, to speak of. We got Starbucks. You know, that's our newest revenue that we have. And it doesn't all just start at the school district. It's the community, it's the drugs, where they have the discipline issues. They get sent out to Echo or StarQuest, or the parents are, I'm just gonna homeschool them, and they get nothing done. Those are the kids that are leaving our district for the most part. But the town needs to get cleaned up.
The sports sells. Sports sell, right? Kids are marketing themselves on Facebook and X and Twitter and Instagram and everything. They're putting their highlights out there. They're running their reels of them. Some kids in certain sports, and then other sports is pushing away. I know some people who were from this district that went south to Johnson City because they were going to have more time to play because the coach's son. Are you going to make the choice that's best for your kid? Or are you going to say, hey, suffer it out because we're here? Anybody going to do that? No. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to make their kid stick it out and miss out on the chance of being something, which it's a debate for the school board, and I see a coach, 2 coaches maybe. They got to be involved. I see 1 guy involved. Coaches, they're there. I see him at Carterville. I see him all the time. And I'm like, why aren't our coaches doing that? We've got great teachers, yes, no doubt about it. We've got fighter pilots that's come from this school. We have hand surgeons. We have doctors. We have anything and everything, right? I'm pretty sure we got a war musician for that fact. That's a big one. That hurts because we've got some kids that can play instruments. I've heard them. It's pretty good. So I've paid to listen to them. And what we do around, and he's going to get tired. Is he going to be doing his best? He's going to try. But is that a fair shake for the kids? No. So I've got stuff to say, and a lot of people aren't going to like to hear it. But it needs to be said. They'll figure out the way. They'll figure out how to get their kid in that district or whatever, and they'll get them there. So we have to figure out how to bring them back. Yeah, the school's not great. The facilities aren't great. I mean, basketball gym's awesome. But we can't make it. But if you think that having, like, not being allowed to have a water bottle in the high school is the way to go, that's the wrong answer. Because if you go out and watch football on Friday night, you'll see. So if I've got a stud kid that's amazing at sports, why would I want to bring him and be like, hey, I know it's going to be tough. Just drink as much water as fast as you can afterwards. No. You need to hydrate all day. Come on. So we've got to make this school district kid-friendly a along with providing the people that probably shouldn't be here. And I don't know why, but stuff like that's got to change. And then we'll get our kids back.
Thank you. No?
I think a lot of it happens so people can buy drugs. They call them the backpack mafia. You can drive through town at any given time and see them on their bicycles riding around, and it doesn't make it a very flaunting place to want to come and live to a lot of people, and that's just an ongoing problem. They seem to land in West Frankfort. I think that's where a lot of the kids go, is when their parents leave. I think also that if we could bring some of the traditions back to the school that we had when I was in school and years ago, in the, I don't want to sound old, in the 90s, 80s and 90s, it seems like there was so much more. But a lot of that too is because kids have changed now. Kids aren't like they were when we were in school. Kids have their face and knees 24 hours a day and don't. It's not fun to go to the to go. Our younger kids, of course, didn't, and things like that. But I think they don't see it as fun, and you're there to learn. And we have great teachers, we have a great education system, obviously. But they need to be there to learn, but have fun learning. I know my daughter has some classes she coming up with different ways for them to teach, and that's made the kids more like the classes more. The classes where the teachers are more involved instead of just, I think he calls it, or Mr. Hill referred to it as lecture, take notes and take a test. Take notes. The parents don't leave, and you give them reasons to come to this school. There's also people that come from other areas to come to this school. One of her friends drives from Curl Springs every morning in the same situation. But I think my graduating, when I was in high school, we had 660 kids in the school last year. I think we had 397. I think that's up a little bit this year. But at that rate, and I was thinking about it last year, if basically we've lost 260 kids since I graduated, what happens in another 35 years? Are we down then to 100 kids here? No industry.
All right, John, we're staying with you and swinging back the other way.
Okay.
All right, so this is going to feel like more of a national question, but given many districts in Southern Illinois, it's something that's going to be really close to us. And I got to paraphrase the question a little bit. So, as how it impacts our school district?
Yes, because I know anytime that the state of Illinois gets involved in something new, it's a disaster. And if they turn it all over to the states in one whack, especially special education funds, title funds, it's going to be a mess. It's a mess to darn it, to keep everything straight, that they have to file and keep going with grants and keep reimbursements coming in from the federal government and all that. I know we get reimbursed after we do it, and I'm afraid any grants that come in for special education, for Title I, we might be using it to put rides up to the Coin State Fair that year and try to cover it later on down the road. And I'm afraid if you get rid of the DOE and put it with the state, it's just going to...
Great at budgeting, like John said. I mean, this is going to be kind of the same thing. I know that Mr. Harris has got a lot on his plate. He's got, I mean, he does quite a bit, more than I gave him credit for in the beginning, that's for sure. I'll say that. But handing it over to Illinois is going to be rough, like John said, and it's going to be something that we're going to have to navigate carefully. And I mean, until it, we'll figure it out and just adjust fire and move on from there.
Everything both of them have said is in total agreement. I don't agree with some of the Chicago politics. Left to Cook County, we're just going to be lost in the shuffle. The federal government has to stay involved in for our district to have any education.
Mike?
Last year, I think we were 1.1 just entitled panel. That a different federal agency, probably Department of Health and Human Services, is probably going to absorb that. We are extremely dependent upon title, free and reduced lunch, IEP 504 money. You know, that is a huge hit to us. I'm hoping that will be so much backlash, because not only is it gonna affect our school district, keep our fingers crossed that we don't get to that point.
I'd say, there's a high likelihood, even if it goes to the state and we get some funding, like Don said, they'll kind of forget about us down here. And so you can probably count on it will be less eventually and could be nothing initially. And so that's why you've got to look from what we would have gotten for the Title I and everything else. And so not just get the budget to the point where, oh, hey, we don't have that $1 million deficit, we're breaking even. No, we need to swing 1.5 or more the other way to, it's not a quick process. So they might have all the funds that we would have gotten. They might distribute it appropriately eventually, but I would say that initial year, you might not get anything. And so thinking ahead and planning to not have that.
I'm going to take the liberty of a follow-up. The Department of Education does Pell Grant student loans, and that made me think about college and career readiness. So I'm going to kind of jump in and ask my own question. So how do you guys feel about, what should be the direction for Frankfurt as far as college career ready for our kids as they
Are offering plans, I think, to go to school for free, basically. In the junior college, you can go to Johnny Logan for free. I'd like to see us do more of the shared classes, where right now I think we just do seniors maybe that can go people 7 miles to the north that have graduated with their associates the same time they're graduating in high school, or they're graduating at Ren Lake 2 nights before they graduate high school. And you can do that and have no cost or be out nothing, and have a free degree or a free associate's degree when you get out. So if that process is available, I know SIU and the public schools in University for free. So I think you're going to see a lot of that happen, whether it be with SIU, U of I, Ren Lake, John A. Logan, Shawnee College, any of those. They all offer different career technical paths, whether it be for vocational programs and the welding programs and the metal programs and the auto programs. We have a lot of stuff that goes on over there, and a lot of kids want to step out of that and move into those things. And they can do that for free while they're still in high school. There's also different plans that we're involved in right now with the Laborers International Union. We have different do that. That's one of the programs that the school's involved in. But I think I'd like to see it at a point where I just finished paying off my student loans not long ago. So I'd like to see it at a time where the kids don't have to take out the student loans and do and the Pell Grants and all of that stuff, if they can just do like they're doing now, and we can.
Trade schools, because I'm in the trades. I have an associate's degree in applied science with a specialty in welding. Welding technology is what it is. So that being said, I like what John said about the dual credit classes. I think we should start those as early as possible. That way we can set our kids up with an associate's degree before they even graduate. That's awesome. That'd be amazing. That way you can get the nurses, get you a little head step, or if you want to go on to be a doctor or a PA or anything like that. SIU had mentioned, I think working with John A. as well and providing some classes there. I don't know how far it's gone along, but I was reading about it the other day. And I think any board can do it. And our guidance counselors, I've heard pretty good things about them. I don't know them personally, but they need to be open and pushing trades and emphasizing the importance of the dual credit system. I know whenever I was in school, I didn't have a clue. Making sure that the kids understand it, that's important. I think that's about it.
Thank you.
To correct you, when you were in high school, it wasn't a dual credit. They offered you to go to John A. Logan, to the Extension Center, 101, their English 102 or 20 whatever, and their psychology classes. Just got some of those core classes gone. And now, the way the schools can do it is the teachers at the high school can actually teach those college classes. They have a degree that could start, their junior year, their senior year. You don't want to put too much on them, but, no, I don't think the freshmen and the sophomore need to take college classes, college prep classes, but the juniors and seniors let them do it, and the trades are, they're absolutely, one of them said she'd like to go to welding school. It's like, well, you know, you chose medical and, you know, now you got a couple kids, kind of be hard to do that. So yes, the trade schools, you know, the welding, the auto mechanics, those things, if those were dual credits, that would be.
I think we need to start looking more to CTE type programs. You know, at the high school especially, when I was there, and it's always been more directed to college prep. And I don't know what the numbers are now, but the vocations. And, you know, you're getting like an apprenticeship program with IBEW, things like that. That keeps the kids here. They learn a trade and then they stay here. You know, they're not having to be like my son, who's having to go to Boston or Chicago to find a job. Like the nursing program. The nursing program we have is fabulous. Look at the number of students that we have at the high school that go into the nursing program, then they go out and they do their clinical. But I don't know all that stuff, Doc. You tell me on that. You know, so sure, we still have to do the college prep, but I'd really like to see more of the CTE, like you're saying, because that's where a vast majority of our students are going now. Then we can keep them here. They're going to get good paying jobs and they're going to stay here. And that's what we need. You know? And I just think that that's something we really, really need to explore.
I'm one who has personally benefited from the CNA class that they have in the high school, and went into nursing as into the curriculum. That might help with, you know, staffing challenges. My sister-in-law was one who graduated with her associates whenever she graduated from high school here, and so you save thousands of dollars. And she then with the trades, the apprenticeships, stuff like that. That's something that I feel like is an untapped potential with the state. My dad has got, you know, haven't looked into previously because it wasn't something that was an option. But yes, definitely anything that we can do to push trades would be great.
Thank you for indulging me. I've saved a lot of money with dual credit, by the way. So parents, if you're listening, we really like dual credit. So in the interest of everyone's time, we could go all night, you know, and to kind of give your farewell to our folks that attended tonight. John, we'll start with you.
It's like I said, it takes a little while to kind of get to learn what you're doing. I think in the last 2 years, I've kind of got a good grasp now on what to do when on the school board and what it involves. I think the main focus before all the policy, we have good programs that are extracurricular, but we want to make sure that they're not the good. We want to make sure we have the best, and we want to offer the best that we can to the kids. So that's what it all comes down to. And we're fluid in people that want to help, and we're fluid in a good town and a good community that wants to get behind the school. So, you know, there's a lot of things you can do without money. And I think we realize that it all when it's all said and done, it's about the students. So that's what I'm about.
It's about accountability, integrity, making sure you're doing what's right. If I'm elected, I'll hold everybody that's in the school system accountable for their actions. Good and bad. I mean, that goes hand in hand, because like I said, we've got a lot of good things. We need to celebrate these people. You know, if we don't have positive reinforcement to it, they're going to stop doing it because they think nobody cares. And that's sad. It's going to be about the kids. It's always going to be about the kids. If I hurt an adult's feelings because I've kind of got a path that I see the school getting better, and it'll work. 100% it'll work. But everybody's going to have to be on board. And as you would think that everybody would be on board, but we have too many admin and not enough students.
When I first was elected, I always said, I'm running for the kids. I'm not running for an agenda. I don't have spite for anybody, any administrator, any teacher. It's gonna be about the kids. It's gonna be about the kids. The first night after I got sworn in, some of the board members that were on the board at that time and some of them that were leaving, they said, for the kids, because there's so much more involved in it. Yes, the kids are the number one important, but if we don't have quality teachers, the kids aren't going to get that education. So we have to look out for the teachers. We have to make sure that the teachers don't know what to teach them, and then it all goes back to now it's all for the kids. And that's still my philosophy. The kids are our future. We have to do what's right for the kids. Whether you step on a toe or you don't step on a toe, but it's.
Thank you. Mike?
In all my studies with the administrator, they always would say, and they're right, you're doing this for what is the best interest of the child. And that's what it's about. Rich, you're not gonna get, my dad was on it for 20 years, he said, he said, I still got that first penny the first year I was elected, you know.
You got a penny?
Yeah, I got a penny. We all want the same thing. You know, nothing's perfect. But it goes back to me personally. Said I don't have a dog in the fight. My child's out. I know everything that he went through. He loved it from day one all the way through. You know, it's a pride thing for me. I care. I want our school system to be the president. West Frankfort was the place to go. West Frankfort was the school district. You know, I want our district to get back to that. Now, how are we going to do it? It's going to be an uphill battle. It's all of us. You know, let's move forward. Stuff that's under the water under the bridge. Let's move on and let's right the ship so we can go down Main Street and we're all proud of not only FCHS.
Like Mike said, you know, I'm very proud to be from here. This is where my wife and I are raising our girls, where we're going to be staying for the rest of our lives. You know, this is home, and we don't just want it to be, you know, good and supportive for them, but for people decades down the road, or maybe that we had some difficulty with that I could present. But just want the town to succeed, want the schools, want the kids to succeed. And want to thank you all for setting this up so that we can introduce ourselves and talk to you and have a desire to help the town, help the kids, to do something like this.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you all for coming. Give them a hand.